Hi, everyone. My name is Kelly, and I'm a volunteer with RAI. Today, my session is going to be on volunteering, why and how. So, why to volunteer and how to get started. After an introduction, I'll talk about the why and then the how, and then what's next after you get a volunteering role. But first, a bit more about myself. So nice to meet you. I'm Kelly Wong, and I have been a volunteer with RAI since 2022, and it is one of my favorite volunteering positions I've had to date. I've made quite a few info sessions with RAI, and this is my latest one. Other than RAI, I'm also a board member with three boards: the Montessori Academy of London, Thames Region Ecological Association, and the Thames Valley Children's Centre. In the past, I've had quite a few volunteering roles as well, so I really do enjoy volunteering. Back in high school, I was an adult ESL teacher. I taught adults English for those who were newcomers to Canada. When I was at Fanshawe and Western for a dual program for my undergrad, I was a class representative at Fanshawe College and a student ambassador at Western University. I've also been a TV show host and crew with Rogers TV here in London. I was also a master of ceremony for a couple of events, and I've also developed curriculum for a couple of different nonprofits as well. And there are so many reasons why I enjoy volunteering, and I love to share them with you. The first one is that you can help others, and it is a really fulfilling thing, volunteering. For example, my role with being an adult ESL teacher allowed me to help my students. And it was really cool too, because they actually helped me as well. One of my students back then was a woman who was a newcomer from Turkey, and I help her, I teach her English phrases and then she teach me Turkish phrases. So we helped each other in that sense. Getting to know the community better is another great reason to volunteer. For example, with Rogers TV, I had the pleasure of interviewing different people, going to different locations, attending different events, and that way I got to know London so much better. You can really make an impact as well. And there are so many roles where you can make an impact. For example, one of my favorite ways to make an impact is sitting on boards. And one of the ways you can make an impact while being on a board is you can help govern the board, help out with the organization. And number four is that you learn a lot of new things in the process as well. So with my board volunteerings, I've learned how to, govern a board, manage finances, communicate with others. So you learn a lot of new things as well. Number five is you can develop skills. So, for example, for curriculum development, I took on that volunteering role during my Master of Education, and that helped me develop a lot of skills that would be useful for my schooling as well. You can also meet a lot of friends and professional connections when you're volunteering. I know that during my time at Rogers TV, I met a lot of new friends and a lot of professional connections as well. And also recognize your interest. Maybe if you're a student, especially, you don't really know what you want to do. You don't really know what you're passionate about, what you want for a future career. And volunteering is a great way to see what you like to do and what you don't like to do as well. So now I'm going to go over the why you should volunteer. So some of the main reasons to volunteer are for yourself, for the community, for experience, and also it is sometimes needed to graduate. So for yourself, if you're a newcomer, for example, volunteering is a great way to practice English. It's also a great way to meet other people, make connections, both personal and professional. For the community, it's great to support those who are in your community, help them out, and you can really make a difference this way. For experience, so you can gain a lot of new skills that could be useful in school and work when you volunteer. And sometimes it is needed to graduate. For example, if you're a high schooler in Ontario, you have to do 40 hours, a minimum of 40 hours of community service in order to graduate. That's very mandatory. There are so many different volunteering roles that you could do, and I've just put a couple of these on the slides. To go over a few quickly, for example, if you enjoy working with children and you have an education background, you can offer some homework help with an organization or read to kids. You can be a tutor, for example. If you are really creative, you can do some graphic design for an organization. If you're really organized, you can help out with some admin duties, or you can help organize events or help manage finances. So there's a lot of different volunteering roles based on your interests, your experience, and also what the organization needs. And speaking of which, there are a lot of places that do need volunteers. Nonprofits is a big one. They definitely depend a lot on volunteers. But there are a lot of other places that need volunteers as well, such as food banks and schools, charities, libraries, animal shelters, a lot of different places. So based on your interest, your skill set, again, there are a lot of different places that you could help out at. So some characteristics of a good volunteer. Number one is passionate. I find that organizations love volunteers who love what they do. A volunteer who shows up, tries their best, love what they do, are very passionate and kind. Organizations love people like that. Organizations also love volunteers who are organized. So someone who's aware of their schedule and knows what time they are available at, can communicate that clearly, and shows up on time. That's really important as well. I find that organizations also love volunteers who are innovative, people who think outside the box. They're not afraid to try something new. They're not afraid to pitch new ideas that they think could be useful. And I find that those are always appreciated. And finally, volunteers who are dedicated, because every organization loves volunteers who just show up and try their best. Showing up and trying your best is truly 50% of your role. And even a volunteer who, don't have as much skills or experience, but who shows up and tries, that's absolutely enough for a lot of organizations, because you will gain skills as you move along. I do want to clear up that there is often a misconception that volunteering is just free labor, giving your time away for free. And the truth is that's not the case at all. Here is an infographic from Zealous on volunteering versus working for free, and I'm going to talk about the differences between some of them. So one of the key differences is that for volunteering, you believe in the mission of the organization that you're supporting. So you believe in what they do, you love what they do, you want to help out with what they do and helping others. Or as working for free, you're not really thinking about the vision and the mission of the organization. You're kind of just working for free for another reason, like hopefully eventually getting a job, or maybe a family member works there and you feel pressure to help out. The other difference is that for volunteering, you're going to get access to events and networking experiences and recommendations in exchange for your work. And that can often make you feel very valuable to the organization. Or as working for free, you don't really feel like you're getting anything back. You truly do feel like you're just providing free labor. The other difference is that when you're done volunteering, you should feel a sense of success, fulfillment, and happiness. Whereas working for free, you just feel very used and empty. And finally, for volunteering, you should always enjoy the experience and want to return. Whereas working for free, you don't want to do it again. So these are some of the key differences with volunteering versus working for free. Basically, you believe in the organization and what they do. You enjoy what you do for them. And it's a mutually beneficial process. So now that we've talked about the why, I'm going to go into the how, and how you can get started with volunteering. So in order to apply for volunteering positions, just like a job, you'll often need a cover letter, a resume, and references. Some volunteer roles don't require references, but some do, usually two. Depending on the role, you may also need a police check, for example. If you're working with small children, they'll oftentimes ask for a police check. And you may also need past experience and specific skill sets. Now, if you are a student, for example, especially a high school student, I find that they're not really, they don't care that much about your experience with skill sets. However, specific roles that often require adult volunteers may ask for certain experience and skill sets, for example, in finances or, another field like that, not a field that not everyone has experience in. Speaking of resume and cover letters, if your resume is out of date, my friend Laura and I did a session with RAI back last summer on resume design and job searching tools and tips. It is a great resource for you. This video is available on our AI social media and YouTube channels, and we definitely recommend you check it out. We include different options of what to include in your resume, how to format it, and Laura even did a live demo in the video of how to actually design your resume so that it's attractive and very useful to employers as well. In terms of where to actually find these volunteering positions, I find that websites really are the most useful. So here are a few websites that I use for myself. The first one is Pillar Nonprofit Network, and I've included links for all of these. The other one is the City of London, and there's also a website called Volunteer London. Now, these websites advertise volunteer positions from all over London. So different organizations can go onto their website and, create postings. So when you look here, you'll find different types of roles, different organizations. You can also find these on LinkedIn. And you can also Google London, Ontario volunteering opportunities just to see what comes up. You can also tag specific roles that you're interested in. For example, London, Ontario volunteering opportunities, animal shelter, if you're really passionate about that, just to see what comes up. You can also attend volunteer fairs, which is a great way to meet organizations in person and get to know them that way. They can get to know you and you can see what's out there. If you're a student, you can ask your school about any recommendations that they have. If there's an organization that you're really passionate about, you can directly ask them if they require any volunteers. You can always check social media, which is a great place to find positions as well. And also asking your friends and family whether they volunteer somewhere or if they know of any good positions that might be suitable for you. For those who don't have a lot of time or opportunities to commute, there's a lot of other ways to volunteer as well, such as volunteering from home. This video was created during COVID when we could only really stay in our houses. But I still find that it is a really useful video that showcases a few remote opportunities of how to volunteer from home. So I'm going to go ahead and play that video right now.
Whether you're out of work at the moment or looking for ways to gather extra credits for your college application, volunteering is a great way to gain new skills and feel good about yourself. In our current climate, it can be increasingly challenging to find somewhere to volunteer in person, which is why we're going to discuss ways that you can volunteer from the comfort of your own home. Here are 10 opportunities that can be completed in your spare time. Number 1. Be My Eyes. This incredible app launched in 2015, connecting visually impaired people with sighted volunteers who can assist with daily tasks, like reading an ingredients list or helping select an outfit. Once you sign up, you'll be notified via video call when someone needs your assistance. But if you're busy, you can just ignore the call and another volunteer will pick up. This is a great choice for people without set volunteering hours. Number 2. United Nations Volunteers. There are plenty of ways that you can volunteer through the online United Nations volunteering website. Start by selecting a sector you'd like to work in, such as translation or teaching, and then navigate through the various opportunities that come up until you find something that suits you. Number 3. Translators Without Borders. If you're fluent in 2 or more languages, you can sign up to Translators Without Borders and offer your services to translate medical texts or translate for crisis response. You won't need to devote a set number of hours per week. You simply can take on work when you're available. Number 4. Crisis Text Line. Crisis Text Line is completely dependent on its remote volunteers. So if you have 4 hours to spare every week and you are over 18 years old, you can help keep their free 24/7 service running by answering texts from people in crisis. Before you can start volunteering, you will first receive a 30-hour training in collaborative problem solving, reflective listening, and crisis management that will help you navigate through crisis intervention. Number 5. Dorot. If you have a soft spot for the elderly, then Dorot is just right for you. You can create cards, connect with elderly members on the phone or Zoom, and have a friendly chat with them. You will need to devote a few hours once or twice a week for 4 consecutive weeks to conduct your calls. Number 6. Catch a Fire. If you want to use your professional skills for good, Catch a Fire helps you connect with nonprofits in need of your expertise and contribute to meaningful projects and initiatives. Even if you're short on time, you can still volunteer through their 1-hour phone call option, where you can consult, offer vital advice, and brainstorm with a nonprofit. Number 7. TechSoup. This platform offers technical help to charities and foundations that need expert assistance. As a volunteer, you can share tips and volunteer online by blogging, answering forum questions, and any technical support that you can offer. Number 8. Learning Ally. If you're passionate about e-learning, you can help Learning Ally support students with learning difficulties, such as dyslexia and visual impairment. You can help narrate audiobook recordings, offer feedback to pre-recorded books, or work in quality assurance. Number 9. Bookshare. If you're a self-proclaimed bookworm, you can help Bookshare by scanning in books you have that aren't in their library and proofreading scanned files. The platform allows users to read a book in a way that works for them by using audiobooks, text highlights, and different visual settings. Number 10. Smithsonian Digital Volunteers. Are you passionate about history? The Smithsonian Transcription Center seeks digital volunteers to help them transcribe historic documents and collection records to make material more accessible to the public. From field notes to diaries and ledgers to logbooks and photo albums to manuscripts, you'll be able to choose from a myriad of available documents before beginning the transcription process. As you can see, there are plenty of online organizations that you can join to make the world a bit of a better place.
Now, in terms of choosing whether a position is right for you, there are a few things to consider. So the first one is time. So what is the time commitment like? How much time do they need from you? Can you fit it into your schedule? How flexible is the role? I find that oftentimes volunteering roles, when they're advertising online, will often include the time commitment. The other thing to consider is the type of work that you'll be doing. What will you be doing? Do you enjoy it, or are you interested in exploring it? For example, if you want to be a teacher someday, it might be good to work with children right now. If you enjoy food prep, for example, then you can find different volunteering positions for that. So just make sure that you're actually doing something that you enjoy, because there are so many opportunities out there. So you can really pick and choose. And finally, the skill set. So what skills does it need from you, and what skills could you gain from the role? I find that volunteering really is a mutually selective process where both parties can benefit. They are going to use your skill set, and you're going to gain new skills by helping out. The application process is going to be different for every volunteer position. And just like jobs, it's similar, but every process can look different. So the first one is applying. You can often apply online or through an email, and then you may get an interview. So you do your interview, and if you get offered the role, you can accept it. And then training may take place after. Not every role will include training, and not every role's training will look the same. So it's going to be very different, but this is the rough application and acceptance process. But you've got the role, congratulations, but now what? One of the things I recommend, especially students, to do is to create a portfolio of the work that you do at this volunteering role. So collecting pieces of your work that you're proud of, for example, like graphic design or written works that you're really proud of, put it in your portfolio, and then use this portfolio when you're applying for schools and jobs. Just after my first year of university, I worked for a nonprofit, and I did some graphic design and written works for them. And at the end of the summer, my supervisor actually surprised me with my own portfolio. She had been collecting some of my pieces and given me this binder. And she says, this will be helpful in your future job search. And it absolutely was. So something that she did for me that I really appreciate. And this piece of advice for creating a portfolio is something that I want to pass on, especially to students. The second thing to do after you get a role is to learn how to network. So network is the process of making connections and building relationships, often professional ones. And the benefits of networking is that it can provide you with advice and contacts. It can help you make career decisions and also help you find unadvertised jobs or internships. And you can network by talking to other volunteers that you meet, talking to your volunteering manager, or just attending and helping out at different events. You'll meet people naturally, and once you get talking, you'll learn more about some of the opportunities or get some advice, and it's a really great thing. And finally, I suggest always finding opportunities to continue learning. So once you're comfortable in your role and you've done it for a while, you can offer to help train new people. You can take on additional duties. And you can also keep an eye out for job opportunities, because I find that organizations sometimes do like hiring volunteers to do a job role, because they know what's going on, they're dedicated, they've worked with them before. For example, when I was at Rogers TV, they hired a few volunteers because they know how dedicated and talented they can be. So this is, again, especially useful for students, just knowing that your volunteering role could become a job opportunity someday. That wraps it up for my presentation. I hope that you found this helpful, and best of luck in your volunteering role.